Hello! So for this module, we're looking at the interior view of the eyeball, hence why we can see the iris and the pupil in front. To determine if we're looking at the lateral or medial side of the eyeball, we're going to look for this gland here, this big bulbous gland on the eye. It's called the lacrimal gland. It's responsible for tear production. On the opposite side, the medial side, you can't see it on this module, but there's going to be another sac on the medial side. It's called the lacrimal sac. It's responsible for the same function as the gland as well. Next, we're going into the muscles of the eye. On the medial side here, you'll see the medial rectus. It's responsible for side-to-side movement, along with the lateral rectus, which is on the opposite side. Now, on the top and the bottom of the eye, there are also two muscles. This is the superior rectus, and on the bottom here, you'll see this red portion. That's the inferior rectus. These both are responsible for up and down movement of the eye. And then for the obliques, you'll see this kind of looks like a horn on this model, but it sticks out here. That's the superior oblique. It's responsible for moving the eye down and in towards the nose. And then on the side here, underneath that lateral rectus, you'll see this muscle here. That's the inferior oblique. It moves the eye up and outward. Both of the obliques also rotate the eyeball, which is super important. So the lateral rectus muscle, let me turn it again, is innervated by the abducens nerve, which is the cranial nerve 4, which essentially just controls the movement of this muscle. Whereas, if I turn this model again, the superior oblique here is innervated by the trochlear nerve, which is cranial nerve number 4. And the rest of the muscles that we've gone over are innervated by the ocular motor nerve, which is cranial nerve number 3.
All right, so next I want to talk about the sclera. That is this whole white portion that surrounds the eye. It is tough and it provides structural support and protection. Now we'll move on to actually the cornea before we open it up. So this is going to be this clear little bubble that's above the iris. So that is, it's a transparent dome-shaped surface of the eye. And now we are going to do the interior chamber. So if we were to take this off, and you're going to see that dome shape of the cornea. So inside that is, we call that the interior chamber. It's located between the cornea and the iris, and it is fluid filled, and we call that fluid aqueous humor. Now, moving this out of the way, we're going to talk about the posterior chamber. Now, this chamber is going to be right about here. And in the posterior chamber, it is found between the iris and the front of the vitreous body. It's filled with a thicker fluid that's called vitreous humor. And now that brings us to the lens, and I'm going to pull this out. So this is our lens. The lens, again, is located behind the iris. And the lens is transparent and flexible, and it plays a crucial role in focusing light on the retina, which allows us to see clearly at different distances.
So we're going to be talking about the middle layer. So this right here, the brown, that's your iris. And that's the colored part of the eye, which surrounds the pupil and controls how much light enters into the eye. And then the middle part, which is your pupil, that regulates the amount of light entering. And then we're going to take this off. Take a look into here. So right here, this red part, that's the ciliary body. and that controls the shape of the lens to adjust focus for near or distant vision. And then we have the coronoid, which is this right here, this brown purple part, and that provides oxygen and nutrients to the retina. This orange part right here is the retina, and it converts light into electrical signals, then goes to the brain to create images that you see. And then over here, this is the posterior chamber, and this is the optic nerve. In between the posterior chamber and the optic nerve is the optic disc. That's right between here. And that's the area where the optic nerve connects to the retina and transmit information to the brain. And then the optic nerve right here is the direct communication line to the brain.